Alright, what's going on, my peoples? This your boy Kenny, man. I'm back one time for your mind. Let's get into this real quick, people. Listen, it's late. Getting off of work late. But let's get into this, man. We got an interview with your boy Bill Barr. Trump former Attorney General. Did an interview. He got a new book out. Of course, everybody that comes out that White House, then they got a book. Then everybody, you're gonna see everybody with a book. But Bill Barr trying to save face. But it is what it is, people. Let's just get into this shit real quick. It's unbelievable that and it's crazy because you're gonna see corporate Democrats be up there saying Bill Barr said the right thing, did the right thing. Listen, first of all, everybody has a choice to follow the stupid, okay, which was Trump and that whole dumbass movement he got. But Bill Barr is no different than Trump. I told you, he's just highly intelligent. It's intelligent racists. It's intelligent stupid. Intelligent people that will play stupid to, gain power from stupid people, which was somebody like Trump. So he's not like somebody like Bill Barr, some type of innocent person in this. He's not innocent. Bill Barr is a horrible human being as well. He's not a great human being. Like, he's just as horrible. And you're gonna see in this interview of how he contradicts himself. And sometimes people, they lack of it ain't even a lack of humanity. It's basically when you face with wanting power, you throw your morals and lack of humanity out the window. You will even stoop down to a level of being humiliated for power. When you see when people in government and shit like that, it's awful to see, and it's weird, but that's how they are. Let's get into this shit, man. This shit is just ridiculous.
And the former Attorney General joins us now. This is his first live interview since that resignation on the eve of the release of his new book, One Damn Thing After Another. Attorney General Barr, good morning. It's good to have you here.
Good morning, Savannah.
Well, I'll start with this. We got a 3-page single-space letter from President Trump about your book. This was in response to questions that NBC posed. I can't read the whole thing, but it's mostly personal insults. He called you slow and lethargic. He said you were so lazy and cowardly. He just never quite understood what was going on. He didn't want to stand up to the radical left Democrats because he thought the repercussions to him personally in the form of impeachment would be too severe. In other words,
now I want to say this. Now, calling the left radical left, it ain't nothing but buzzwords and cultural war words to stir up people's fear and shit like that of voters, right? Like when I call the Democrats, some of the Democrats in government, corporate Democrats, that's not to put into people with fear. These are just people that will lie to you and tell you that they're working for yous, okay? But they really working for the corporation. They're there for themselves. They're there to put money in their pocket and keep a little bit of power they got. It's not to scare people. It's just a fact. A fact should not scare somebody with saying what people are, with the definition of what somebody is or what they represent, right? When I call Democrats, some of the Democrats, corporate Democrats, that's just what they are. They work for the corporations. They're no different than Republicans. Republicans they probably worse than the corporate Democrats, but they all the same. Now, when I call the right wing white supremacists and all Republicans that's in politics are bad, I mean that. Because that's what they are. That's what their party stands for right now. And you get a few people, it ain't enough people on that side of the Republican Party is standing up to this to this takeover of a bunch of Klan members coming into their party. They ain't do shit. They all bow down and kiss the ring to Trump and his Klan buddies. So that ain't me over exaggerating the situation or being, over the top with it. It's just a fact. So when they call the radical, stand up against the radical left, that's all bullshit. It's all cultural war words. It's not even true. It's nothing radical about the corporate Democrats. They are doing nothing. They're doing the exact same thing if the Republicans was in it. The only difference is the Republicans will push their full agenda. The Democrats is not doing anything. The corporate Democrats, nothing. Joe Manchin and them, they are corporate Democrats. They don't give a fuck about the people. Sinema, all of them. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, they ain't doing a goddamn thing. Chuck Schumer, none of them are doing shit. The motherfuckers that they scared of is the AOCs in the world, the Bernie Sanders of the world. Like that's the radical left. If they want to be real about it. You get what I'm saying? That's the radical left. But ain't nothing radical about wanting to help the people. But I guess to them are being corporate stupid people, right? They work for the corporations and study their own voters, right? Because they only just giving they voters just talking points and buzzwords and culture war shit. They not giving them real policies that help these people. They playing off of these people. Listen, some of these Trump supporters and people on the right is psychologically fucked up. Cause there's no way you just this goddamn stupid allowing somebody to continue to keep taking advantage of you. But it is what it is. Let's move on.
Bill Barr was a coward. All right, here's the guy you came out of private life to help, someone you stuck your neck out for. Do you have any reaction to that?
It's par for the course. I mean, the president is a man who, when he's told something he doesn't want to hear, he immediately throws a tantrum and attacks the person personally. So I thought the letter was
no, mind you. Listen, let me explain something to y'all very, very clearly about Bill Barr. Listen, man, this man has a very high IQ. He is very intelligent. He knows how to play politics. This man is not a dumb man. Everybody in Trump orbit at one period of time when he was in power, they wasn't stupid people. They just were surrounded by a lot of yes men. And the yes men Trump liked more and respected more. I ain't even gonna say respected, but I say respected more because they was okay to cower to him. He was okay with that. But people that would tell him like, nah, Trump, that ain't a good idea, he would flip out on him. Bill Barr is not a stupid man. But the one thing that you have to realize about somebody like Bill Barr that's have a very high IQ and is a very intelligent man is that and know how to play this politics games. He know how to play this game. Listen, people, just be real. He knew exactly who the fuck Trump was when he got in there. Bill Barr got into that to get back in the politics game, to get back to being famous again. Motherfuckers know who he is. Because he may be trying to run for president. He may be trying to run for senate. He may be trying to do something. This man is not stupid. I need y'all to understand something about Bill Barr. He's not a stupid man. He's a coward, but he ain't stupid. Let's move on. He knew who the fuck Trump was.
Childish.
You don't pull any punches in this book either. Your book really details the good, the bad, and the ugly of working for this president. And you conclude with a pretty damning indictment, so to speak. I'll read some of it. In the final months of his administration, Trump cared only about one thing, himself. Country and principle took second place. And you go on to say...
First of all, Bill Barr, listen, man. Come on, Bill. Come on, Bill. Come on, Bill. You knew that before you started to go work for Trump. Please don't listen. I just want to say this, people. This ain't about cancel culture. Because people have the right to go by and do whatever the fuck they want to do to support somebody. I'm telling people out there, please do not go buy his book. This man's a coward. This man is trying to play with your intelligence. He knew exactly who Donald Trump was. He knew Donald Trump was a selfish motherfucker. He knew Trump was stupid. He knew Trump was a deplorable human being. But he said, you know what? I'm gonna get back up in the game so I can get a little bit of recognition. Maybe get me a book deal out of it. Maybe, get my hands back rubbing with the elites. He knew what the fuck he was doing. Bill Barr ain't stupid, man. I'm going to continue to keep saying it. This is not a stupid human being. He's far from being stupid. He's actually, if you gave Bill Barr power like some Trump power, you gave him some Trump power. Oh, shit. Listen, man. You gave him Trump power. Listen, man. Bill Barr will show y'all how to do this, son. Damn shame.
To say he has no concern with ideology or political principle. His motive is revenge, and it is entirely personal. Why was it important for you to tell that truth?
Well, I was pretty content with the administration up until the election. I supported his policies. He was always hard.
So basically, he's basically, in one hand, he's telling you Trump is all these things. All these things he's saying that's bad about Trump. He was okay with it. Until it led up to the election. And he started going off on that, they took this from me. They stole the election. That was your final draw? Don't let this man fool you. In 1 minute, or in one hand, in 1 second, in his book, he's saying that he know how horrible this man is. But that was okay with him. He was okay for when he was out here mistreated and talking down and talking bad about people. He was all okay with that. He was okay with Trump saying racist and offensive shit to blacks and minorities and others, women, all types of shit. Let me just explain something to y'all. When they always say the policies was okay, they basically saying we ignored this character too. They ignored they ignored it, or they was okay with it. Because you just can't keep telling me about policy, because I keep saying this. With policies, other than build the wall, other than what? Gerrymandering, shit like that, like lowering taxes for the rich, so where they ain't even paying taxes. He didn't do shit. Beefing with our allies around the world. Bigging up Putin. He was okay with all that shit. And let me explain something to you. People, if Bill Barr really, truly thought, because I told you, Bill Barr is not a stupid man. If Bill Barr, it's like Mike Pence. Mike Pence played stupid. He let Trump run all over top of him and, and all that fuck shit, right? They knew that they couldn't overturn the election. Bill Barr would have went to jail. Mike Pence would have went to jail. I'm telling y'all that. That's why I keep telling y'all he wasn't going to be able to take over democracy. Now they just putting in laws and shit in certain states to fuck shit up. And they're trying to get a bunch of crazy people in the Senate. I'm not saying it ain't possible to steal an election On the Republican side, it's very easy for them to do it. But Bill Barr knew that they weren't going to be able to do that. Him and Mike Pence, they knew that. Come on, man. These people ain't stupid, man. All the way up to that. You already knew what Trump... First of all, before this shit led up to what happened with the election, Trump was talking about this shit months before. Like right before the summer. In the spring, he was bringing up how they're going to steal the election. So Bill Barr need to stop. Because if that was the case, Bill Barr should have just quit from the beginning when he was out there putting that narrative out there. When Trump was putting that narrative out there, Trump was doing this shit for months. So to a certain extent, for me, I wasn't shocked what happened on January 6th. I wasn't really that much shocked. Because that shit was building up to happen. So if I can see that, and I know Bill Barr is a very intelligent man. He has a very high IQ. He's seen the same shit I seen. So he's just basically here trying to like act like he's some type of decent human being, which he's not.
It's always hard to work with and resistant to advice, but you could usually keep things on track. But after the election, he went off the rails. He wouldn't listen to anybody except a little coterie of sycophants who were telling him what he wanted to hear.
Bill Barr, he been off the rails. What are you talking about? Trump was tripping for months, years. That motherfucker was tripping today. The day he said Mexico is sending their worst people, rapists and murderers. That bitch was off the rail then. What the fuck are you talking about? The man was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs from the beginning.
And I think he did a lot of damage after the election, both with this idea that the election was stolen and also by him sort of rallying this group on the Capitol Hill, where the clear purpose was to intimidate the vice president and Congress.
And before we go any further, for those who say, oh, here comes Bill Barr, this is a rehab tour. He's rehabilitating his image. It's a day late, a dollar short. It's revisionist history with a lawyerly flair, you say.
Well, people who know me know I don't really care what people think about me, and I think that's one of the reasons.
And listen, let me just say something to y'all. Remember I told y'all a while ago, when somebody gets on the platform and tells you that I don't really care about what people think about me, they are lying. They do care. Because let me explain something to you people. If you did not care what people thought about you, you wouldn't explain yourself. You wouldn't tell people where you stand at, what you mean. You just continue to do whatever the fuck you want to do. You do care. People do care. He's a liar. I cannot stand when people do that shit. That shit is one of my pet peeves that I don't like about people, man, when they do that shit. I don't care what people think. Listen, some shit I don't care about what people think. But I do care what people think. He's doing this interview because, one, he's trying to sell his book. Two, he cares about what people think about him. Because if you didn't care about what people thought about you, why would you be out here on the interview trying to sell your book? Because you ain't got to do no interview. You don't care what nobody say. You ain't got to do no interviews. All you got to do is, buy you a couple of ads or something like that to push your book. A commercial, something. You can do it on social media. Do your little 5-10 second book commercial. You ain't got to do interviews. What you do interviews for? Because you're trying to sell a book to get people to buy it. So you do care. The more people buy it, that's the more money you get. So you want people to care what you thought and what you think. Now, the other thing is, you talking about I don't care what other people think. Listen, if nobody buy your bullshit ass book, I bet you don't care, you son of a bitch. That's why nobody should be out buying this book from Bill Barr, any Trump administration people that work for Trump. Nobody. It ain't anything that they're saying. It ain't nothing that you didn't know what the fuck was going on in that White House. They just repeating the same shit over and over again. We know. We get it. I don't need another Trump person coming out with a Trump book, because that's basically what it is. How bad Trump was. We know. You ain't got to tell us. Oh, I just want to give you, from my perspective, why you care about what we think about your perspective. Why you got to say anything if you don't give a fuck? You don't care what people think about you. Don't put this bullshit ass book out. Let's move on, man. I can't stand people like this, man. When they say that shit, I don't care what people think of me. People that know me, I don't care about what people think about me. Man, please, man. Fuck out of here, man. If that's the fucking case, the people that you say that know you, they shouldn't even fuck with you then. You should have no friends. Shouldn't have a wife, no kids, or nothing. You shouldn't even be getting no pussy. This motherfucker Bill Barr, man. I can't stand people like that. Let's move on, people.
Reasons I was persuaded to take the Attorney General job, because I wasn't looking for anything. I don't have a future career. I'm retired, and I felt I could just call him as I see him. And anyone who tries to win the approval of others is going to be compromised very quickly.
Well, let's call it as you see it on.
First of all, Bill Barr, you piece of shit. Listen, hey, you son of a bitch. Listen to me. You was compromised. You was kissing Trump ass all the time. You was kissing his ass, writing dumbass memos and articles and shit and papers to get Trump to notice who you were. You already had kissed the ring, bitch. Fuck are you talking about? Man, fuck Bill Barr, man. You know what? There was certain people in Trump administration that I didn't listen. Don't even get it twisted about Trump. Trump is a joke to me. After a while, Trump was a joke. Because I just knew he was just stupid. This is one of the dumbest presidents we have ever seen, especially in my lifetime. George Bush is up there too. But the one thing about George Bush listened to all the evil people around him. People keep forgetting about that. Trump ain't listening to nobody. That's why his dumbass lost the election. Because he wouldn't listen to nobody. He ain't listened to the evil, smart people around him. He kept listening to the dum-dums. The dum-dums he brung in. That knew nothing about politics. You had a motherfucking president know nothing about politics, bring people in that ain't nothing but yes men and yes women that knows nothing about politics. Then he brought people in that knew something about politics, knew how to run the country. He wouldn't really listen to them. So he wondered why he lost the election. Man, please. Trump. Listen, after a while, Trump was a joke to me. I was laughing at Trump. And the dum-dums that was following him. Well, was kissing his ass. All of them was kissing his ass. But, the ones that was yes men all the time. The Bill Barrs of the world, the ones that I knew better. They was very intelligent. The John Kellys and all that shit. Those motherfuckers, they the ones that I couldn't stand because they knew better. And they still sat there and supported this dude. Should have let his ass go to jail. Trump would have went to jail if they wouldn't have had the Bill Barrs of the world, the Jeff Sessions, the John Kellys and shit. Trump would have went to jail. But they protected him. The smart ones protected his goofy ass.
Election fraud. President Trump in this letter says you failed to investigate election fraud despite, quote, massive amounts of evidence. In point of fact, you did investigate once and for all. Did the president lose the election, or was it stolen or rigged by massive fraud?
Well, stolen and rigged are two different things, but there was no stealing of the election through fraud, which means...
First of all, it wasn't rigged either. Because I know where he get ready to get at. And I'm going to break that shit down once again for the stupid people. Because I know we dealing with a bunch of stupid people in America. Okay, listen. It wasn't no fraud. It was nothing. The shit, people, this was the most secure election in history. In American history, it was the most secure election in history. Shit was so bad, more people voted more than any time in history. In any presidential election. That's how bad Trump was. And his goons was. That's how bad the Republicans was. People that ain't want to vote for Joe Biden ain't had no choice but to vote for him. Because the whole Republican Party got corrupt by a fucking con artist named Trump. And then the hardcore white supremacists just came out. They just love Trump. Man, talking about rigged. Ain't what nothing rigged. Nothing rigged. But he can really tell you why he think it was rigged. But let's move on.
You know, that people who were not qualified to vote or didn't exist, their votes were counted, or that good votes were subtracted. The votes reflected the decision of the people. You can talk all you want about, you know, the playing field and the gaming of the system, and there were some things that have to be looked into, like the Facebook payments, but that does not mean that the election was stolen or that those votes were invalid. There simply was no evidence.
First of all, Bill Barr, what the fuck? Listen, Facebook had a big effect in when Trump won. What was the difference? What was the difference? Don't try to play that dumbass goofy shit you talking about. You know the nerve of these cocksuckers. Listen, you know what's so crazy? Is that you know what's so fucked up about this whole situation about America? This is why listen, people. I don't like America because America full of shit. The politicians, they all scumbags. Listen, not all of them, but a lot of them, 90-some% of them are scumbags. Listen, I don't hear these motherfuckers out here getting mad at corporations paying politicians. Paying for politicians to be in positions in the government to pass laws and bills and regulations for them. I think that is cheating. You know what else is cheating? That people in Congress can hear about shit that's getting ready to fuck the economy up, that they got stocks and bonds in and shit, and they know about it, and then all of a sudden they give up those stocks or they get involved in certain stocks. That's cheating. But I don't hear Bill Barr and the stupid ass Republicans and the stupid Trump supporters even talking about that. You're talking about an election that was the most secure election in the history of America. And just because your candidate got outvoted and y'all got outvoted, you mad. You know how mad I was because Trump was in office? But I ain't rushing no Capitol. I ain't get together with a bunch of my buddies and go storm the Capitol. You motherfuckers are okay with police officers killing unarmed black people. Unarmed black people didn't rush the Capitol after they didn't kill George Floyd and the Breonna Taylor. You goofy ass bitches. But your candidate lose and you're mad. And you storm the Capitol. You make up conspiracy theories and just lie about elections and shit. And keeping the lie going. Talking about this e-regulations. Bitch, ain't no e-regulations. They just mad because more people will vote if you send them mail-in ballots. People commit more fraud a lot of the times on the Republican Party side. That's a fact. The data shows that. Let's move on, man.
No evidence of that.
Polls show most Republicans believe the big lie. Only 21% of Republicans believe Biden was legitimately elected. You have an opportunity to address them. You
I
may
ain't
have
letting
some
nobody in the
credibility
show
with them.
tonight.
How would you explain? How do you know this election was not stolen via fraud and that Trump lost it legitimately?
Well, first, all the examples that were thrown up very early were, vaporware. There was nothing to them. They were just false. For example, one that the president repeated recently, saying that more people voted in Philadelphia than there were voters. Nonsense. It was nonsense. Second, no evidence has come out since then. But third, you look at the vote, the actual vote, and there's no mystery as to why he lost. He lost for the reason he was told for a whole year he was going to lose, which is he alienated independent and Republican voters in the suburbs. That's why he lost.
Well, let me talk to you about something you write in your book.
First of all, alienating people, that's a broad statement. No, Trump lost and knew for a whole year. It wasn't, listen, people, those suburb peoples tolerated his behavior. Don't ever get that twisted. There, a lot of them, the Republican suburban people, a lot of them is a bunch of racists and bigots and shit. They tolerated his behavior and his bigotry. They didn't give a fuck. They was okay with it. I told y'all why Trump lost the election. Because of COVID. That's why he lost. He'd have still won off his stupid ass behavior. They put up with it for almost 4 years. For 5 years, they put up with his behavior. No, he fucked the pandemic up. He fucked COVID up. Motherfucker telling people go out here and drink bleach and shit. Put Lysol. This motherfucking crazy. He was saying all types of goofy shit. Lying, talk about it ain't that big of a deal. We only got a couple of these people. When the data come out, we know it was more people. He knew it was more people that had COVID. He was lying. He lied about it. He fucked the pandemic up. He fucked the economy up. That's why we in the situation that we are in. Partly. A lot of why gas high. Everybody complain about gas. Bitches, shut up. I don't want to hear nobody complaining about gas. I'm serious about it. I'm tired of people complaining about stupid shit. You know why the gas is high. You know why products are going up. You already know why. Trump. Can't expect Biden to come in and fix a whole bunch of shit. And I'm not a Biden fan. I'm not here to defend Biden. I can't stand him. Listen, you can't expect this man to come in and fix all this shit that Trump fucked up in a year. Right away. He fucked the pandemic up, put out bad information about COVID. Second guessing doctors and shit. Like, come on, man. They under him. They in his administration, and he undermining his own doctors, his own scientists. But everybody sitting here, you wonder why? Oh, gas so high. Why everything going up? Trump. Fuck, are you stupid? And you can blame the Republican Party for continue to have the economy still fucked up. It's a part of that. It's on them. The Republican voters that listen to the stupid Republican Congress people, the analysts, the Tucker Carlson, they listen to them. That's why shit fucked up. Don't complain to me about no fucking gas. Definitely, I wish a Republican would say any goddamn thing to me. Oh, Joe Biden ain't got nothing to do with why this shit is fucked up. There's only so much he can do when he don't have the backing of the other party that want to help and fix the situation. If the other party is just sitting there and knowing that the economy is fucked up and prices are going up and they don't want to help, what do you want him to do? To a certain extent, I mean, he could do a whole bunch of shit I could talk about. But if the other side ain't helping, your side is not helping, what are we talking about? Stop telling me about what's going on in the country. Shit is fucked up. You're helping it if you're a Republican. By putting nonsense out and doing conspiracy theories. Saying conspiracy theory shit. You goddamn goofies.
Your book that you say that you actually confronted the president on December 1st with this and told him point blank in no uncertain terms that you had looked at the fraud allegations and there was nothing to them. Can you tell me about that conversation?
Yes, I felt I had to address these claims, and after I looked into them and sort of...
First of all, you stuttering too much, bitch. You stuttering too much. Oh, I don't like Bill Barr, man. Let's just move on, man. He's stuttering too much for me, bitch. You lie, but la 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 la. That's what he when he's stuttering like that, all I hear is la 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 la. Goddamn liar.
Sort of got sure of the facts. I talked to the AP reporter, and he asked me about it, and I told him, and the president was livid and called me in to the Oval Office, which I knew he would do, and we met in this little dining room in the rear, and I told him that what he was saying was BS, and that there was no basis for it, and he was livid. And long story short, I said, look, you're disappointed with me. I'm perfectly content to resign. And he said, accept it. So.
Well, after that December 1st meeting...
First of all, that's a damn lie. He lying about that. First of all, talking about making a long story short. No, bitch, tell the whole truth. Listen, basically, after they had that little meeting, Trump probably cussed him out. I mean, not probably. Trump cussed him out. Called him all types of horrible shit. That's what Trump does. And Trump told that motherfucker, don't even be bothered to go back to your office. Go fuck home. That's what Trump told him. Of course, Bill Barr ain't listened to him, but I'm just saying, that's what he did say to you. He talking about, I told him, well, I'll resign. You didn't say nothing about resigning until that shit was over with, until you heard from other people from the White House was telling you, hey, man, Trump is totally upset at you, blah, blah, blah. Whatever reason you said, you know what, I'm going to get the fuck up out of here. You got pushed out, but at the same time, you chose to leave. Because it was people after that whole situation happened with him and Trump, people telling him, hey man, you better not fire him. You're going to look even worse. What up, LT? You're going to look even worse. So Bill Barr needs to stop lying. He's a habitual liar. Like I said, he's a smart liar, but he ain't that. I'm very intelligent, my goddamn self. I know what the fuck happened. I did my research. I know exactly what the fuck happened in that room when y'all was talking. You're just trying to be slick and shit. I know what the fuck happened, you son of a bitch.
And when you told the president it was BS, you then went out with Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, and you wrote in your book, I felt Trump had taken a dangerous turn since the election. It had always been difficult to keep him on track. You had to put up with endless complaining and exercise a superhuman level of patience, but it could be done. After the election, he was beyond restraint. Why didn't you speak out more forcefully right then and there, having told the president...
Tom, he already knew that Trump was unhinged before the election. Trump was already off the rails on everything. It wasn't like it was just this election. The man has already proven to you that he ain't right. They call Trump can't get right. That's his name. Trump can't get right. Nigga, I'm seriously about this shit. Listen, Bill Barr already knew how Trump was. He tolerated, put up with it for the power. Now, whatever came to him all of a sudden, and he was like, you know, maybe it is time for me to stand up to Trump for whatever reason against what the election bullshit, right? If he could have got away, listen, if Bill Barr really thought that he could get away with stealing this election with Trump, he would have did it. But he knew it was no way impossible that him or Mike Pence could help Trump steal the election. He knew that. The facts couldn't allow him to be a part of that shit. He didn't want to go down with the shit. He didn't want to go down with the lie. But if he could have got away with the lie, he'd have rolled that bitch till the wheels fell off. Him and Mike Pence, don't ever get that twisted. He just knew part of it was like what I just said, and the other part was that, you know, for whatever reason he felt, I don't think he have any morals to me. Him or Mike Pence. They cowards. They suckers. They let Trump run all over top of them for power. So they suckers to me. Ain't no morals in that. You ain't no man. Or any of them women that allowed Trump to do that to them. Or stand by him knowing that he's a horrible person. You ain't no man, no woman to me. You ain't no decent human being. You let that man run all over top of you for power. To keep some power.
It's BS. Why didn't you say more right then and there to the American people about it?
Well, I did, as a member of the cabinet, say that to the press, and that was invoked all the way across the country that I was taking that position. And then on the press conference on the 22nd of December, my last full day at the department, I held a press conference and I reiterated it.
You said there's no evidence of widespread fraud. You didn't say, I think the president is dangerous. In fact, in your resignation letter...
And you did not say that Trump lied. He's a liar. The president is lying. And mind you, these are the same people that rock with Trump in his language about not being politically correct. Say what the fuck you want to say. And mean what you say. No, he sugarcoated it. These are cowards, man. These people are cowards. Let's move on, man. Cowards.
Letter, you wrote, I appreciate the opportunity to update you this afternoon on the department's review of voter fraud allegations. Now, here you know the claims are BS, your words, not mine. Why wouldn't you have said something? How do you write a letter like that leaves the impression that there might be something there?
Well, as you remember, there was basically an allegation du jour. I mean, it was like playing whack-a-mole. And, you know, there were questions being raised.
Yeah, but does that letter really reflect the spirit of what you knew to be true?
You're talking about it was questions that was being raised. Listen to me, people. If I'm the AG, I did the work. I got my people doing all the work to figure out if it's some fucking fraud happening. Okay? Whoever I'm with, I'm rocking with, you know, whatever, the president, whatever, right? And I tell the president, it's BS, it's nothing there, sir, blah, blah, blah. When I go do my interview or when I resign, I'm saying that. I told the president it was BS, ain't no voter fraud, people. So if the president tells you that it's some voter fraud, it's a lie. I don't give a damn what people were saying. You seen all the data. I don't give a fuck what people were saying. You the AG. You went through all the data. You done went through everything. You investigated it. How you, like she said, you left the door open for these wackos, these conspiracy theories to think it is still voter fraud out here. For Trump to continue to say what he's saying. To fuck the country up. To divide the people. To have people out here questioning if we still have a democracy or we don't. You did that, Bill Barr. You left the door open for that. Oh, it was questions. It was still questions. What questions? You already looked at the data. You the one came out and said it wasn't no fraud. You sugarcoated this shit because you still wanted to kiss Trump ass. You piece of shit. Tell the fucking people the truth. Stop lying. Get in the interview lying and shit. I can't stand these people, man. And then the low IQ motherfuckers that Trump supporters, they hate him. But at the same time, he left the door open for them to come out with their conspiracy theories about the election. To still keep believing in Trump. So I always want people to understand this. Even though he coming out, he's saying all this bullshit, he the one help. He's still and continue still helping the divide in the country between the people and still fucking the country up. Because he won't just. It is not even taking a side. It's just telling the fucking truth and being firm about it. Stop bullshitting.
It's dangerous and it's BS.
Well, I didn't say he was. I said he was acting in a dangerous way because he was not listening to advice from his advisors. And in the past, you could keep things on track, and now I felt he was sort of off the rails.
Yeah, and you write in this letter, this resignation letter, I am proud to have played a role in your many successes. You go on to say, your record is all the more historic because you accomplished it in the face of relentless, implacable resistance. Even if you felt that way, this is somebody you told Mike Pompeo, he's dangerous.
First of all, he didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. You know what's historical with what Trump did? That he was one of the most stupidest presidents. I believe the most stupid president that we have ever seen in our in history. If you do research and you read about other presidents, even though a lot of them was a bunch of racists, but they was smart, they was intelligent. This dude was an idiot. This motherfucker was worse than Reagan. How the fuck you worse than Reagan, nigga? How you stupider than Reagan and Bush? You're the worst president ever. I wouldn't even call him the worst because the worst presidents was the forefathers was a bunch of racists. So I wouldn't call him the worst. But intelligent-wise, he was the most stupidest president we have ever seen in our life. Or even know, if you do research on history, this man was a stupid person. But Bill Barr talking about the most incredible things against people going, man, please, man. Listen, if Trump would have just went in there and just did the normal Republican bullshit, kept the racism and all that other goofy shit that he was doing, he'd have been fine. But he was just dumb. This wasn't about the American people. It was about Trump. He didn't give a fuck about nobody. He didn't give a fuck about he don't even give a fuck about the people that support him or even his voters. He gives less fuck. He prove it all the time. Just a goddamn shame, man. Bill Barr, you should be ashamed of yourself. Shame of yourself.
It's dangerous. You say in your book you were worried about the peaceful transition of power. You even had national security concerns that you voice in your book. None of this is present in this resignation letter. Didn't the American people deserve to know what you knew?
Well, I think on December 14th, that's when the states certified the vote. And that's the day I tendered my resignation. The election was over for all intents and purposes. The idea that something could be done later on January 6th was nonsense. And once the election was locked in...
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You are the motherfucking attorney general. You are watching. You are part of the intelligence, really. You know what's going on out here. People are rallying up. You the DOJ, man. You the attorney general, man. You know Trump was rallying these people up, man. I seen this happening. And this motherfucker got more things to, he got things in his his arsenal of seeing things of what can possibly happen. Listen, Bill Barr, if what he's saying is, let's go off his narrative. Basically, what he's saying, he basically fucked up, because that means you didn't pay attention to the threat. Basically, you didn't pay attention to the threat. This dude is unbelievable, man. Let's move on, man.
Locked in on December 14th, I tendered my resignation, and I knew Trump was, going to be leaving office.
Let's talk about January 6th. You write that Trump orchestrated the mob. He was not ultimately successful in overturning the election, but do you believe that was his aim, to intimidate and pressure Congress?
Yeah, I think that the aim was to pressure Congress and to pressure the vice president. And I said that
okay, so if you know that, you knew that this was what happened on January 6th was possible. You was in the FBI. You was the head of everything. So you knew. You had a clue. 1 minute you say you didn't. You thought it was ridiculous that could possibly happen. Then now you say, oh, Trump, yeah, he was the one that was doing it. You watched this man's behavior for a whole year. And you're a part of the FBI. You seeing this shit online. You hearing the people yelling and screaming. And they stole the election. You was very prepared. Got yourself very prepared for Black Lives Matter. But the white supremacists come to fuck up the Capitol. All of a sudden, you don't know nothing. It's ridiculous. I didn't think they was going to do that. And then you going to say on the other hand, oh, well, yeah, Trump did orchestrate it. Come on, man. Come on, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. So when you hear people out here talking about there's no such thing as systemic racism, you're a fucking liar. You're a goddamn liar. This is a prime example of it. Bill Barr is basically telling you that. Because if you go off his notion, he just basically ignored the motherfucking problem that was coming. He assumed that these racist ass white people wouldn't go up there and storm the Capitol and commit crimes, commit treason. But the black people and the minority people and some good white people out there, oh, they get together, the coalition of everybody, what America's supposed to be, that they lie and say they want to see, but we know they lying. I'm talking about the Republicans. You see that with a movement, and they actually had a real reason to be out there to fuck some shit up. Not saying I condone it, that people was burning down shit, but I'm just saying, if you want to be honest about it, they had more of a reason to do it. Let's move on, man. I ain't condoning it, but I'm just saying.
Regardless of whether laws were broken, regardless of that, it was a shameful thing because one branch of government shouldn't be trying to use a mob to pressure another branch.
You said to the Chicago Tribune before the election, you know how liberals project all this BS about how the president is going to stay in office and seize power. They're creating an incendiary situation. Did you underestimate the length that the president was willing to go to?
Yes.
You did?
Well, I was surprised.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He a liar. He a liar. He a liar. Bill Barr, why you gotta lie, man? You didn't underestimate Trump. You knew who Trump exactly was. You went to listen, people. Listen. I read people very well, and I'm just saying this. And some people can't read people that well. But people, if you outside looking into something, and this consistently happening in your face all the time, and this person is showing you who they are before you even go to work for this person, you have an idea of how this person is. Bill Barr knew who Trump was, how he was. his behavior. He knew. You sat back for almost, what, a year and a half before you got your position? You knew who Trump was. And then you got in there, and all of a sudden, you still didn't know? When you working with this guy? He's a liar. I didn't have a clue. I didn't think. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You knew he was capable of doing this. You knew he was. This man behavior, and I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. People, you know when somebody is capable of doing something. You watch the behavior of them. Nigga, listen, I hung around killers, murderers, robbers, street niggas, violent niggas. You been around a motherfucker not that long, you know what they about. You know what they capable of doing. And this man been around Trump for he watched Trump for 2 years. For a year and a half, and then you work for him for another year and a half, and you telling me you couldn't figure this out? But you the best and the brightest. Yeah, all right, Bill Barr, please.
And I thought it was a farce because there was no substance to it. There was no legal support for it.
In the few moments we have, we cannot get into the Russia investigation completely, but let me ask you
this. The man
this.
already was talking about murdering people, telling people to go out and kill people. He was telling people to go out and commit crimes. The man was, listen, man. Wow. Basically, if we're going off of what Bill Barr basically said, he didn't take Trump seriously. The man is a wannabe dictator. You don't take that serious? The man for a whole year, like he said, basically was telling you that he was trying to steal an election, and you still didn't take it seriously. That it was possible that he can rally. The man he got a cult-like following. Nothing this man can do wrong into some of these people's eyes, and you didn't see this? You didn't see how divided the country was for 5 years? And you could not see this, what happened on January, you couldn't see that possibly happening? Well, that means you wasn't a good AG. You shouldn't have been in that position. But like I said, it wasn't that. He's lying. He seen it coming. He knew it was coming. He had to. Deep down, he had to know. Listen, people, when you are in that atmosphere of, in law enforcement, it's almost you do it so long you can predict stuff because you're around the fuck shit all the time. So you know the behaviors of people or what sometimes people are capable of doing. So sometimes law enforcement can stop some situations from happening sometimes. Because they've been watching the behaviors of these certain individuals or movements. We supposed to have the best and the brightest at the FBI. Like, come on, man. And Bill Barr, I didn't see this coming. Man, please. You're a liar, man. You're a fucking liar, man. Let's move on, man.
Yes. You decided when Robert Mueller chose not to analyze whether there was criminality on obstruction, you decided, I'm Attorney General, I'm going to make the decision. Now, why did you do that when the whole point of the special counsel was to take it out of the political chain of command and to remove either the conflict or appearance of conflict? And you acknowledge in the book, you thought it was a phony scandal. So you took that decision upon yourself Why did you do that?
Well, it is a phony scandal, and people, in talking about the big lie after the election, forget that there was a big lie, at the beginning.
Be
of
that
the
as it
Trump
may, I'm more
administration.
focused on the issue of your attorney
First of
general.
all, it wasn't a big lie. It was a lot of things in the Robert Mueller report about the Russia shit that actually was true. A lot of it was just speculation. And it didn't lead, like, if that was one of us would have went to jail. It was people that went to jail because of the Robert Mueller report. So it wasn't a false thing. And people that was close to Trump, people that knew Trump, people that was in his orbit. Now maybe Trump was stupid that he didn't know exactly how fucked up this shit was that these people was doing, but Trump wasn't that stupid of it. So, and because I don't want to get back into the Mueller report, because I believe that was a missed opportunity to get him the fuck up out of there for committing treason. My honest opinion. And the people that, and his family members, all them bitches should have went to jail if it was on me. Because if it was me. Because I guarantee you, if that was one of us, and it was people that was in his orbit that went to jail. So it wasn't like, no, it was some old bullshit. Rob Miller just, was lying. It wasn't justified. It was. No, everything in it probably wasn't. And he made it very clear. Some of it he couldn't do because he was the president. If this motherfucker wasn't the president, he'd have went to jail. If he was just a regular politician, he'd have went to jail. Trump would have went to jail. And the shit that was in that Robert Mueller report that they investigated. So, Bill Barr's a liar. Just admit, yeah, he committed crimes, but you couldn't really charge him with nothing because he was the president. Trump was supposed to go to jail. Listen, man, ain't nobody trying that shit. Bill Barr's a goddamn liar. You was very firm on saying that Robert Mueller shit was some bullshit, but you just ignore Trump shit with the election. You just, I didn't see these things coming. Wow. Anyway, let's move on. You biased, and that's all it was. And you was biased because you wanted power, and that's the only reason you was saying shit when you wasn't the AG, putting out memos and interview shit, writing in the papers and shit. You was doing that so you can get in good graces, so you can get up in that motherfucking orbit of Trump, so you can get back being popular. We ain't stupid, Bill Barr. We know what the fuck really going on. Well, some of us do.
General, you believe it to be a phony scandal before you even had any facts, and the special counsel is appointed to take it out of the political arm.
He found the facts, and he did it as a special counsel.
Yeah.
He used, working for the Attorney General, by the way, and he used the compulsory power, grand juries and so forth, to extract evidence. That process is permitted precisely to make a decision.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You could have said, Mueller, I don't like your approach. You did this investigation. You make the decision. You could have ordered him to do that, couldn't you? Instead of taking it upon yourself.
But he indicated he did not want to make that decision.
But you could have said, it's better if I don't. I'm the Attorney General. I've got, I want to protect the Department of Justice.
And right, and you all, hold up. First of all, you already, I would have put that bitch back on Miller then, since he was the special prosecutor. And first of all, the only reason that you even became the AG was to stop that shit. And you was already on some bias shit because you already wrote articles and put memos out of that the Mueller shit was bullshit, Trump ain't do nothing wrong, without any evidence, without any investigation. You knew nothing. You got hired because of that. So you was already a conflict of interest, or even making any decision about the Russia-Trump shit, the Mueller investigation. You was already in conflict. So you should have never made that decision. But he did, though. He did. without any evidence. He was out putting memos and writing articles and all that shit before he even got in office. That's why Trump hired him. This dude must think we stupid, man. Please, Bill Barr, please stop the fucking nonsense.
Its reputation for impartiality. You could have told him, you make the decision.
You know, that's another area where I was critical of Bob. I'm not sure it was that impartial. When you go back and look at the way it was handled, the reason he was selected by Rod Rosenstein was to give the appearance that there was no partisanship, and then he went out and hired a lot of partisan Democrats, and so half the country didn't have confidence in what was going on.
So what that mean? So you would have put it ain't like he had no Republicans. And it shouldn't have mattered if they was Democrats or not. Robert Mueller was known for being not playing politics. It shouldn't have mattered who the fuck he hired. Because he didn't just hire Democrats. He hired Republicans too. And what people don't know is that Miller, he wasn't a Democrat. He wasn't a fucking Democrat. Bob Miller, listen, man, he was no Democrat. And he was known for being not playing bipartisan bullshit. Being bipartisan. He wasn't that type of motherfucker play politics with investigations. If it was a Democrat or a Republican, he didn't play favoritism. He was a known Republican. He wasn't a Democrat. So because he hired some Democrats, what? So who playing politics? You are. Because you didn't like, the people that he hired. Are you fucking kidding me? So you think you coming in, you somewhat better than Bob Miller making the decision or how he approached the investigation. It wasn't that how he approached the investigation. You got upset because you thought it was supposed to be more Republicans. How's that being partisan? How's that not being like playing politics? Oh, it made you feel more comfortable with some Republicans in there. See, that is the problem with America. In all states, in all situations of government that we have, these motherfuckers don't understand. You can have your ideology personally, okay? But right is right and wrong is wrong. And you don't, first of all, these people you should not be getting these positions. Just because, he a Republican. Because that's mainly what, he a Democrat. That's mainly why a lot of these people get these positions. It's not because they know how to be bipartisan or they don't play politics. Don't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It's not that. They get hired because a lot of times they're a Republican or a Democrat when they just should be bound by the law. So Bill Barr is full of shit. You try to blame everything, your bad behavior, or how you handled this Russia investigation. You try to blame Bob Miller. And try to say, he handled the investigation wrong because he had Democrats. Come on, man. Please stop. So would it made any difference if he would have just he'd have hired some Republicans, more Republicans on his team? He hired the best people that he thought that he could trust that would be similar to what he is. Or not playing politics. Which he supposed to do. Shouldn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Or even if you're not a Democrat or a Republican. It should be your qualifications. And you're supposed to just abide by the law. Go by the law. Is the person abiding by the law? They buy it. That's how they're supposed to go. This is the real reason why I say a lot of these people, they are not qualified to be in these positions because they are biased. That goes for police officers. That goes for some of the FBI agents. Some of these motherfucker, these Congress people, these governors, these senators. They are not qualified because they don't know how to do not know how to not be biased. You lure to a party. That's not why you that's not your oath. You're supposed to abide by the law and do right by the people. What the fuck are you? Oh, these motherfuckers, man. Never mind. People, this is the real reason why I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat. Because when I come out and I speak about these things, about these subjects, and speak about these we do these stories, I want to be as open to all sides or whatever sides it may be. I do my homework or whatever, but I like to listen to both sides. I like to listen to sides because I don't want to get out here putting out bad information to give people because I'm being biased. Now, listen, your opinion is always going to be a little biased because it's your opinion. It's most likely probably your ideology, probably how you think, probably how your morals are, right? But facts is facts. The truth is the truth, and false shit and shit that's not true is what it is. You don't get to be because something that goes against maybe your ideology, right? If you put yourself, you hold yourself as on a high standards, right? Of which I do, right? Of being fair, right? Just morally being fair. If something goes against my ideology or what I think, doesn't mean I get to lie about the truth because it doesn't fit my narrative or fit my ideology. That's called being disingenuous. That's called being biased. The shit is sad, man.
After the Russia affair was over and the Mueller testimony was complete, you write about getting together in your office. You said, we felt we had finally put Russiagate behind us and behind the president. I brought out my tray of single malts and soon the sound of hearty laughter and clinking glasses filled the air. It felt like a great weight had been taken off our shoulders. Now the president can focus on his positive agenda. Now, this does not sound like the independent attorney.
She right. She's talking about that don't sound like an independent person. Let me explain something to you. After he basically came in and did what Trump wanted him to do, because Trump kept telling him, I need an AG to stop this investigation. Bill Barr came in and did exactly that, but in a slick way, because I told you, the man has a very high IQ. He's very intelligent. Very smart. He's a smart, you can say criminal if you want to say. Right? A smart bad person. Right? They toasting and cracking liquor and shit. We finally got this behind the president. That was your whole purpose. That was the only reason you got the job. That was your whole purpose. You didn't come in there to find the truth. You didn't want the truth. The truth was staring you in the face, and your agenda was to come in there and do the opposite of what you said you was going to do. But you was lying and telling people, I'm just if it go that way, blah blah blah. But your agenda was to come in there. You let everybody know. That's why you did your little memos and your little articles in the papers and shit. to have Trump look at it, see like Trump, hey, we got a good, yeah, he good. We can bring him as the AG to stop this shit. Your agenda wasn't coming in there to let Robert Mueller actually make a decision or actually go with the facts or actually go with the investigation to where it leads. You came in there to fuck that investigation up. That was your whole purpose, Bill Barr. And stop lying to people and acting like a lot of us are that stupid to think that what you saying makes sense, or that you telling the truth. The rest of us know that you're a goddamn liar. Listen, my disdain for Trump and me not liking him and me thinking he a racist or stupid. If he's not guilty of something, why would I want to put an innocent man in jail? Or have an innocent man under investigation for nothing? Treating him a certain way, even though I think he's a horrible person. I still wouldn't wish that on him or want that to happen to him. But Bill Barr didn't go in there with that. He went in there with a bias. Even if I was investigating something, right? And I may have a little, I want this motherfucker to go to jail. But if the facts doesn't go that way, I'm not going to try to make facts happen. Bill Barr went in there as Trump's personal lawyer. He didn't go in there as the attorney general. Supposed to be separate from the White House. He didn't do that. He went in there as Trump's personal lawyer. Instead of this motherfucker trying to sit there and play stupid games with people.
And an attorney general, you say that you were in this decision making.
Well, that was during the summer.
It was in July after.
Long after I made the decision, when he was testifying.
Yes, but do you see why somebody sees that? That sounds like a defense lawyer's party.
Well, I don't think so. I think the department had worked very hard on this, and I had certainly taken a lot of guff about it. It was a lie. It was a lie which the media pushed. It was a feeding frenzy that hobbled the administration and was unfair to the president.
First of all, it was not a lie. It was not a lie. People went to jail. Now, if you want to say that the evidence did not show that Trump had anything to do, there wasn't enough evidence or something like that for the president or some shit like that, even though we know that's not true. But if you just wanted to say that would make more sense to me. I can actually accept that. But you sitting and acting like it was just a lie. And it was stopping his agenda. It wasn't stopping his agenda. Trump was if Trump was just so stupid and focused on that goddamn investigation, then that was his problem. That was his goddamn problem. That means he couldn't do more. He couldn't do two things at one time. He only could do one thing. Because he's a fucking idiot. You're trying to blame everybody else for Trump being an idiot and being stupid and couldn't govern. When motherfucking Bill Clinton was under investigation, nigga, he was still being the president. He still was doing more than one, two things. He could focus on more than one, two things. So how is Trump the greatest president ever when he couldn't do more than one thing? On one hand, you say he couldn't stay focused. He couldn't do what he couldn't do his agenda. He couldn't do what he wanted to do. But then on the other hand, you tell me he was the greatest president ever. Through all the shit that he was going through, he still kept doing what he was doing. But he kept focusing on it. But he couldn't focus on his regular shit, his agenda, because of this. Listen, let me explain something to you people. Trump was guilty because of the help of his behavior too. Mainly because of his behavior. Because if he could not focus of doing what he got elected to do, and mainly a lot of his focus kept going into the Miller shit, and he couldn't do his actually job, the reason that he's really in there, he still couldn't do that. then he wasn't never qualified to do the job. This shit is sad. In the ass kissing that Bill Barr is doing right now is just ridiculous. Well, that was a lie. Okay, all right, we'll get over that. Well, Trump lied too. And I don't see you focusing more on that shit or coming out being stern and calling that a lie. You call it BS. Trump lied about the election. You call it BS. But the Robert Mueller shit, you call straight a lie. You firm about that, you cocksucker. Bill Barr's a piece of shit. And he's lying. He's sitting there making up shit.
The president, and I dealt with it accordingly.
Finally, you say in your book it's time for the party to move on from Trump. Liz Cheney has said he is not fit to serve and should not be ever near the Oval Office again. Do you agree with that?
Well, I certainly have made it clear I don't think he should be our nominee, and I'm going to, support somebody else for the nomination.
But if he is the
Time out. Bill Barr, he get ready to go down this rabbit hole of being a cocksucker that he is, because he's a coward and he's a cocksucker. This is straight up coward shit. This is what they do on the Republican side. They try to say, "Oh, I'm not going to vote for him," but watch how he contradict himself. A cocksucker. You suck a lot of Trump cock. You piece of shit. Listen, he shouldn't have to explain. He should just say, "No, I'm not voting for him." Nope. And yeah, he should never ever be in the office again. I agree with it. I agree with Liz Cheney. He should just say that. But he can't even do that because he's a cocksucker. He's a Donald Trump cocksucker. Piece of shit. Listen, people. This is what bothers me about the right. Or some of the people on the right that think Trump is a horrible person. You know this man is bad for business. You know he's bad for the country. You know he's bad for the world. You know this. But you still will go and support this dude even though you know you got so much animosity for the other side of their ideology. Because you so insecure about yourselves and you want everybody to be like you or think like you. That means more than you than a motherfucker just actually dividing the people and fucking the country up. Like, this is deeper. Like, listen, Trump supporters, it's deeper than what you really think it is. Because they would rather tear this bitch down to be racist, homophobic, whatever the fuck is going on with them, than to be fair to others that they just ideology just disagree with. They don't even care about the country no more. It's not even about the country no more. That's why I said, if they don't care about the country, why the fuck do I will sit here and say, I gotta love America, I gotta be this patriot that they say I gotta be? They don't even care about the country no more. They hate people like us so much that just have a different ideology than them, that they're willing to tear this bitch down. Burn this bitch down. They'd rather vote for a motherfucker that is bad for the country as a whole. Because he fits the ideology. It's sad. I'd rather for them to say, look, I ain't voting for Republican or a Democrat. I'd rather for you to say that than to be sitting there, I'm gonna go and vote for the Republican just because the radical, I don't like the radical Democrats. Some shit you made up in your brain. We just disagree on different ideology. We just disagree on the future of America. You think that we should go back? A lot of us don't want to go back. That's it. You want to continue to keep having corporations running the country. We don't want that. We want the people, which, as it's supposed to have been about, the Constitution and all that, was about the people. The people run the country. The people are supposed to make the decision of where the country goes. Not some weak-ass, bullshit-ass con artists, politicians like Bill Barr. And the rest of them cocksuckers. And I don't give a fuck if they Democrats or Republicans. They bring their religion and all that goofy shit. Church and state, bitch. I don't even, listen, my honest opinion, I don't even know why, if you are a religious person, I don't even know why you even vote. You don't get to dictate your motherfucking religion on me. You don't fuck about your religion. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to religious people. I'm just saying, when it boils down to the end of the day, you're talking about policies. Your religion means nothing. It shouldn't. You keep that. That's a choice you made to be religious. That's what you believe. My belief is I keep religion out of this shit. I believe in the higher power. I believe in God. Listen, people, but I don't make decisions. My ideology is not based on my religion or what I believe. On the higher power that I have never seen a day in my life. I don't base policies on that. I base policies on what is going on around us, literally, in reality. Every day, what the people are going through. I don't base my ideology on religion or my personal beliefs. Because my personal beliefs are fuck both sides up. We live in a fucked up country. This country is fucked up. And don't tell me about patriotism. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Don't tell me about the military. Y'all don't even, the right wing, y'all don't give a fuck about the military, bitch. You use the military as photo ops. You use the police as photo ops. The police do the same shit. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's culture war shit going on. We live in a culture war time right now. All you bitches want to play culture wars. Nobody got time for that shit. Military ain't got no say, and damn sure the police ain't got shit to say. I don't give a fuck if you're police. That shit don't mean nothing to me. Excuse me.
This is the nominee, and you have your choice is Donald Trump or whoever's running on the Democratic side. Would you vote for him?
Because I believe that the greatest threat to the country is the progressive agenda being pushed by the Democratic Party. It's inconceivable to me that.
What is it then? If you believe, see, my problem with these dumbass people that say shit like these dumbass right wingers, he's an idiot too, right, for saying stupid shit like this. It's all culture war talking points. Because see, my thing is the interview. I know they was getting ready to get down to the end, so she couldn't well, what are you talking about? I'd have made a little bit more time because I want to know what is the danger. Explain the danger to me that the so-called radical left is doing, or that you see that's possibly that can happen. We just asking for Medicare for all. Raise the minimum wage. Treat people fairly. Hold law enforcement accountable. Is that so radical? Clean energy. Like, help try to save the earth. Like, I don't understand what's so radical about that. Marijuana nobody has smoked marijuana and killed nobody. Well, people die from marijuana, I can say that. Nobody has died from marijuana. Make marijuana legal. I don't understand what's so dangerous about that. Let's bring peace in the world. We don't want war. I don't understand what that is. I don't understand what the danger is. Listen, I don't agree with everything that comes from the left. People, that is debatable. Letting everybody have the freedom, the gays be, get married, have the same opportunities we have, as far as the laws. I don't have, that's not radical to me. Because, like I said, these are the same people that tell you that they are religious people. Who are we or them to judge anybody that's different? You're not God. You're supposed to be a servant of God. I don't understand what this radical shit is. I don't get it. It's nothing but culture war talk. Buzzwords, I just don't understand. You can't, listen, talking about a socialist country, we would never be a socialist country. We could never be a socialist country. And the reason that we could never be a socialist country is because corporatism, it has to be a part of the economy. You have to sell shit. You have to bargain outside of even our country. We are way past some point that where capitalism doesn't matter. We are way past that. There's no way impossible we can be like you can't make money without, you can't keep a country running if you just be on some socialism shit. Everything free. That's not how that people, your country won't survive. And I think, believe it or not, the ones they calling extreme leftists, I guess they calling me that as well, but I'm not stupid or goofy enough not understanding that, we need capitalism and socialism at the same time and somehow find a balance to make both of them work. Because capitalism it don't always got to be bad. It's the people that makes some of these systems and ideology corrupt and fucked up. Like even thing with socialism, it's the same thing. It's the bad people that be involved in it, the greedy people that fuck shit up. It's the people. Sometimes the system is fine, just like America. America could run good if everybody treat everybody fairly. Everybody had the same opportunity. Just give me an opportunity. Let my skills speak for what it is. Don't treat me different because I come from a different neighborhood or the color of my skin. Well, you so comfortable being around people that look like you. That's the problem. I don't understand why people can't understand. That's not radical. That's not nothing radical. There's nothing radical about that. The radical crazy shit that's going on is the racists. It's the people that telling you we don't want inclusion. That's radical. That's not patriotism. That's not supposed to be what America's supposed to be about. That's the opposite of what they talking about. Listen, I don't want black people to ever get a position that we ain't qualified to have. I don't want any race to get a position that they're not qualified to have. You got Herschel Walker running for a Senate seat. Ain't qualified. He black, but he ain't qualified. The only reason he qualified in white people's eyes is because he believe in that ideology. Ain't nothing in his character or who he is as a person or in his background to tell you that this man is qualified. I believe you at least got to be a community leader, or you got to run for governor or mayor or something, or the Senate in states before you even, I believe, before you even be qualified to run for state Senate or Congress. Anything in Congress, House, Senate, House, Congress. I don't understand how people just run. Like, you got to be qualified. Get some experience. Anyway, let's move on, man.
To me, that I wouldn't vote for the Republican nominee.
So even if he lied about the election and threatened democracy, as you write in your book,
It's
better than a Democrat.
It's hard to project what the facts are going to turn out to be 3 years hence, but as of now, it's hard for me to conceive that I wouldn't vote for the Republican nominee.
All right. William Barr, always good to see you. Thank you so much.
He's a liar. So basically, it's keeping the door open. Because on one hand, you say the radical left is the danger of the country. So I'm not voting for them. But you know in your book, and you say all this goofy shit about Trump, he's a danger to the country, and all this other goofy shit. But if you had to choose between two dangers, right? In his mind, we're going off his ideology, which makes no fucking sense. But let's just go off his ideology. Go off of what he's saying. Just because it's ideology, knowing that both candidates are dangerous, right? To him, the Democrat candidate is dangerous, regardless. If they ain't a radical left, they could just be a corporate Democrat. Joe Biden somehow of a radical. Anyway, okay. But you won't vote for that Democrat because they radical and they're a danger. You say that Trump is a danger to the country, to the democracy, but at the end of the day, you still will vote for Trump. Even though you know he's a danger. Even though you lying about the Democrat, but you just don't like they policies. It's not a danger to America because they can't name nothing that the Democrats do. Even the corporate Democrats does the same shit that Republicans do, false policy. So it's nothing radical. Joe Biden is not doing anything different than what the Republicans would do, a Republican candidate that was in administration that was in. It's the only difference. It's no difference. So he's lying. He's sitting here. He's intentionally lying. Trying to act like Trump is. You gonna vote for Trump, bitch. Stop acting like you won't. If it's Trump and another Democrat, it doesn't matter who the fuck the Democrat is. Believe it or not, unless it's Joe Manchin. I really think that Bill Barr might vote for Joe Manchin. Because Joe Manchin sold the Democrat Party out, him or Kristen Sinema. Because I think they trying to run for president. Even though they don't have a chance of beating Biden. The only person I think that may have a chance to beating Biden if he did run is probably Joe Manchin. He probably could beat Joe Biden. I believe he could. Because he got so many of the Republicans riding with him that I think that he could win. But then no, because you got to think about it. The Democrat Party don't fuck with him at all no more. So, he would have to run as as a Republican or independent or some shit. He couldn't run as a Democrat because the Democrat Party is disgusted by Joe Manchin. So, I don't know. That's a weird combination right there. But ain't nobody going to run against Joe Biden this upcoming election. It may be one or two people that may try, but ain't nobody from the Democrat Party going to run against Joe Biden right now. Even when it come up, I think it may be one or two, but it ain't going to be a playing field, because I just think that if Trump if Trump run, it's weird because I need another year. I need another year of Biden. I gotta see how these midterms turn out, and that'll really let me know how things could go in the next presidential shit. Because I need to know what's gonna happen in these midterms coming up. I really need to see that, because that'll let me know a lot. That'll let me know where the people are. You get what I'm saying? Because right now it's up in the air really. Because I don't really think that people really know what the midterms is really going to be. Because I don't think a lot of people is blaming Joe Biden for a lot of fucked up shit that's happening right now. Because you can't. It's not really on him. The shit been fucked up and the Republicans are not helping. And that should be the message to, like, if Joe Biden, if you don't want to really do too much, your message should always be is that they ain't helping. They complaining about stuff, but they ain't helping. They ain't doing nothing. And then when you got things that you want to pass that could be very bipartisan, and they don't vote for it, you put their ass on blast. They doing it to you. You can't unify with people that'll keep kicking you in your fucking face. How do you do bipartisanship when somebody keeps spitting in your fucking face every chance they get? I'm not going to continue to keep talking to somebody when they 1 minute they tell me something, and then they go, as soon as they leave me, they go and say the opposite of what we was talking about, or do the opposite of what they said they was going to do. Like, I don't understand that, what Joe Biden is doing. Joe Biden can do a whole of a lot. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, Bob, time the midterms come, he gonna start really passing a lot of those executive orders, because he's gonna try to save the Democrat Party and save himself, because the midterms is going to predict what's going to happen in the presidential election. Like, I kind of figured that Trump could fuck this up. It mainly was because of him, but mainly because of the midterms. I started to see, I wasn't that, like I always tell people, I wasn't that concerned about the midterms. I mean, about the presidential shit. Even if Trump would have won, I wasn't that concerned, because the only thing he could really do is do executive orders. But a lot of his executive orders, you know, the Democrats could challenge in court, and that'll hold some of that shit up. But because we had the House, he couldn't pass certain shit without the House. You know what I mean? The Democrats was going to have the House, so it was a lot of shit that Trump wasn't going to be able to do regardless. It just didn't matter. So I wasn't afraid of letting Trump be there. People were so afraid, and they didn't understand. Like, listen, morally, you got to pick the lesser two evils. I get that. But morally, you know what's wrong for bringing Biden up in there. I could have dealt with Trump for another 4 years. At least we got his ass out of the way. He ain't no more. He can run. He can do damage, but hey, nothing gets done. Trump can't do shit. He can't do shit. As I always keep telling people, the party that's not in power, far as like the president can't do shit. Just look what Barack did. He did nothing. He did more executive orders than anybody, because he couldn't do shit. He tried to work with Congress. He tried to work with him, the Senate. He tried to work with them. They wouldn't do nothing. The Republicans wouldn't work with him. They should have, listen, the Democrats should have took the same blueprint of what the Republicans do. Sometimes you got to take that blueprint. We're not voting for none of that. They ain't doing shit right now because some of it they ain't got to do nothing. Nobody's holding them accountable right now. But like I said, the midterms will speak everything. The midterms will speak everything. And listen, don't worry about who's voting for for the Republican Party. That's irrelevant. Watch out for the midterms, how many people that don't vote. Look at that data for the Democrats. Look at that data. Don't. And I'm talking about the blacks and the minorities. White people, they iffy. They up and down. They Republican, Democrat sometimes. You get what I'm saying? That's just something that happens. They just do that because it's more them than us. So they up and down with their shit. They almost have like a, what you call it? They almost have like a pass for doing a lot of the shit that they do, right? When it comes to voting, right? Especially in the Democrat part, right? Watch the minority vote. Watch the black people vote. Because you gotta watch the percentage of how many black people voted for the presidency, even for the midterms before that, right? When they finally took over the House and all that other shit, when transition happened, right? You have to watch that shit. Watch it. Like I said, I just hope, my honest opinion, I just hope that what happens in the House, I hopefully the House still have the minority at the end of the day, because nothing will pass. I'm telling y'all that now. If the Democrats keep the House, ain't nothing passing. I'm telling you like that. The Republicans can get the Senate and they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. Nothing goes past. Listen, both sides got to do it. It ain't just one side. Like, the Senate can just, they can vote whatever the fuck they want to vote on. It doesn't matter. That shit got to go back down to the House. Just like the House, they can vote on whatever they want to vote on, but it got to go to the Senate. For it to get passed. Like I said, always keep telling everybody, you gotta watch this shit. And it's not playing politics, but you kind of gotta play it a little bit. If the House just keep the House or the Senate, it's hard to keep the Senate. If you're like for a Democrat for some odd reason, I don't know why the fuck it's like that, but it's hard to keep a Democrat minority. It's hard to do that. And it mainly be probably because of the states, and it's not that many state senators, right? Not state senators, but senators. But when it comes to the House, it's a lot of them. So you want to keep the House. The House can stop that. Democrats can stop all that shit. You still will have a president for the next 2 years, and you'd be fine. Like, not to pass they fucked up agenda. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because the one thing I notice about Democrats, they can play victim. They know how to play victim better than the Republicans. The Republicans can't play victim. They try to play victim. It works for them a little bit, but it doesn't. Not like the Democrats, because it's always obvious to see what the Republicans are doing, because they so brazen with their agenda is of trying to fuck the people over. So a lot of times they bring a lot of themselves not winning on themselves, but the Democrats does it as well. So I'm not going to predict nothing right now when it comes to the presidency, because I think Joe Biden probably still could get up in there if he does does a couple of things, because we don't know in the future whatever, if something else may come up that's probably a bigger deal. Just like Trump was, he was basically doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do for the first 3 years. He just was chilling. He just was being Trump, doing his old fuck shit like he normally do, and he was fine. I mean, his approval level was low, of course, because he was just an ignorant, stupid bastard and saying stupid shit out of his mouth. But far as him being voted back in, Trump was going to win that. But he fucked up because his goofy ass, and I told y'all, he fucked that pandemic up. He didn't handle that right. Because first of all, he wasn't experienced, and he had a bunch of yes men around him, and then he contradict everybody that had the experience and knew what the fuck they was doing. He contradict those people when he didn't know shit, and he putting out bad information. So, that's on him, man. That's how he lost. He ain't nothing else. He lost it because of the pandemic and how he handled the pandemic. And I told y'all that. All right, people. Let's get out of here, people. Leave your comments, hit that like button. Support your boys, your boy Kenny, man. Peace and love to the world. Make sure you guys subscribe to OBF, the family channel. Donate to the channel. Go to OBF the Real and donate to the channel, people. We highly appreciate it. Leave your comments, hit that like button, support your boy, and hit that subscribe button, people. We're trying to get our shit back up. We're trying to get back up. We're on a new movement right now. Peace and love.
Hey, it's Shay. I've been deemed the mother of OBF, which means I care for this channel. I care for each and every member of this channel. I've been kicking it with OBF for more than 6 years, which means I'm not new to this shit. I'm true to it. I believe in the intent of this channel. I believe in the mission, which is to inform, to educate, to notify, and to discuss. Here, we talk about everything, the latest and the greatest. You're going to get our opinions. You're going to get the facts raw and uncut, straight up real, 100%. Besides doing that, I think we've created something that haven't been done yet on this YouTube platform. We've created a squad that not anybody could be a member of. You have to be real. You have to be inspirational. You have to be positive. And most of all, you have to be consistent. You probably see on the show, we fight. We fight for our opinions. We fight for what we believe in. We fight, yes, as a family. But behind the scenes, we love even harder. Here at OBF, the squad, we are not kinfolk. We are straight up family. And I'm proud to be a member. Shay out. OBF for life.